Good morning and welcome to Ask the Accountant, part of the Ask the Accountant Network, a podcast network for accountants and bookkeepers supported by our Patreon community. Speaking of who, we always like to shout out their names at the start of a session. So we say thank you to Paul Whitehouse, Kirsty St. John, Mahul, and Peter Richardson for their continued support. Now, going...
Oh, you muted yourself, Jan. Jan, you muted yourself.
There we go, I'm back now.
You said going forward.
So going forward, we are suspending our Patreon community until further notice. We mentioned this a few weeks back. We can now officially, now Lizzie's actually pulled a finger out and announced to the world why we're having to do this, we can now officially tell all of our wonderful listeners why. So let's get this out of the way and then we will deal with the usual day-to-day running of the show. So basically, Lizzie has accepted a new role and is, I think, 2 weeks into that new role now. So Lizzie has taken on a marketing role at TaxCalc, which for me, I'm very Jekyll and Hyde about this whole thing. I'm really, really pleased for Lizzie and for TaxCalc, but I'm also thinking, how dare she leave Ask the Accountant high and dry. But no, genuinely, we are absolutely thrilled for Lizzie. She came to us brand new to the industry, basically just out of college or university, having just done her qualifications. And she's gone from absolute strength to strength, whilst also maintaining mine and Aaron's ability to show up and look informed and deliver as high a quality video as we would allow her with our usual, we don't need to turn microphones on. No, we don't need to do backup audio. Why do you want to turn the camera on? Why would people want to see this? But yeah, we genuinely wish her all the best and thank her for absolutely everything. We're both thrilled that she's staying in the industry because she's an absolute talent to have in the industry. But until we come up with a plan for events and all the amount of content we were creating thanks to Lizzie's ability to edit it all and stuff, we don't think it's fair to keep people paying for the Patreon community when we're not delivering the value that we feel it deserves. So from the end of July, the Patreon community will be paused. It will be on holiday, whilst Aaron and I have a discussion about what we're going to do going forwards. What we have already discussed is that this weekly show continues. Mm-hmm. We are striving to be at all the events as we always have been, delivering podcast pit stops and stuff. And some of the other events, some of the other topics and seasons, as it were, will still continue, but we're just reviewing which ones we hold back on, which ones we carry on with until we decide what we're doing with replacing Lizzie. So that is why the Patreon community is going to be suspended. It's because we want to make sure you're getting the value you deserve out of that membership. And without Lizzie on board, we can't really do that. Anything you want to add there, Aaron?
No, just obviously really happy for her to get her new position. I think TaxCalc's going to, and Engager as well. I think she's involved in both, isn't she? It's like a joint role or whatever, whatever you call it. She's going to do brilliant there. And I know she'll be still there at events. So make sure you go and say hi to her. Make sure you kind of keep her in your thoughts and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, as the accountant going forward, I think you're spot on. It's that idea that we're still going to be able to produce majority of what we are, but there's just a few things that, just logistically we couldn't do. I think the bit that I think most people were concerned about when we've kind of mentioned it to a couple of people was those live events, and pleased to say we've got a plan. Really looking forward to kind of a new direction, if you like, in the way that's going to go. But more importantly, it means we're still going to be there. So still getting your grid walks, still getting your your pit stop podcast. So that's the important thing for the show, right? Carrying on. So yeah, it's going to be bittersweet, but we're really happy for her, and yeah, we think she's going to do absolutely amazing in a new role.
Absolutely. Brilliant. Right, Aaron, welcome back. I've got some bad news for you. Your replacement was higher rated than you are, and you may need to start looking for a new podcast channel.
So
But yeah,
maybe
no,
I become the producer going forward. I take Lizzie's role.
maybe you become a behind the scenes person. Because to be fair to Tim, he absolutely smashed it last week. He was well received by the whole audience. So thank you, Tim, and we will be bringing you back when either Aaron or I cannot make it to a weekly podcast, because he is always well received by our audience, which is fantastic to see. He's like the substitute teacher that doesn't get bullied.
If anything, you get hashtags and all, so he gets celebrated. Doesn't
Oh yeah. Can the substitute teacher actually be the real teacher, please?
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, how are you? How's your break?
Yeah, very good. Formula One was absolutely phenomenal. What an event! I think we've learned that it's not just about the race. They've really turned it into a proper festival. We had the football there, so we had England playing twice. We had like our celeb spotting, and I got to see loads of like Jenson Button and Lando Norris and all that sort of stuff. So just overall, what an event!
How many restraining orders have been issued?
Well, that's all, they can't there, because that's the whole point of it, right? Like the public fodder, really. But no, it was really, really good, really good. We went to the comedy night both nights as well, and that was real good fun as well. So yeah. Jack Whitehall was one of the comedians there. So yeah, really loved it. I was actually back in time for the event, for the podcast this time last week, but I was on like 1.5 hours sleep, so I thought that probably wouldn't have been wise to deliriously talk, especially with your deciding to go down the let's bash QuickBooks mentality. I was like, probably not the right time for me to be involved. So yeah, kudos to Tim. It was a great show. That was my feedback is well done. Yeah, it was good work there. What about you? How's your week been? I saw you went to a gig, didn't you?
I've been all over the place. So last week I was in London for the whole week, which finished off with ZeroCon, which we're going to go into in depth today. Mm-hmm. So warn the listeners. And then I was at the Edinburgh Castle on Saturday night for a gig with Garbage. That's the name of the band, not that they were crap. But yeah, so
aren't they?
I can't say I've ever heard of them, but Claire had, and it's part of her Christmas present, so we had tickets for that. And it was very good. And then we've driven down to my dad's yesterday, and we're basing ourselves at my dad's for the next 10 days. Spend some time with him whilst doing a light bit of working. So yeah, all good my end. Good. But as always, with or without the Patreon community, we are nothing without our listeners that turn up on the day. So let's go through 8:30 on the dot. Oh, Cheryl, you're back from your holiday, I can tell. Refreshed and recharged, ready for the 8:30 button. Good morning from Cheryl, saying cooler at the moment with a bit of a breeze. Usual temperatures expected by lunchtime. It is a tad warm down south. Kirsty St. John says, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Kirsty. Paul Ingram says, good morning, everyone. Trust all had a good weekend. We did, thank you, Paul. We hope you did too. Mahal says, good morning, everyone, from cloudy and sunny London. Hang on a minute.
maybe the sun's just peeking through the cloud every now and again.
Maybe. Hope everyone had a great weekend. We hope you had a great weekend, Mahal, as well. Bookkeeper Superhero, Natasha says, morning all. Now, Natasha had a fantastic weekend. She was at the Goodwood Speed Festival.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Yeah.
And I believe Sage was her hospitality person.
Sage was there.
Sage took her at one. So I don't know if they took her for a day. Natasha, tell us all about it in the comments. Yeah. Paul Whitehouse, good morning. Good morning, Paul. Nicola Gardner says, good morning, Nicola. Suzanne says, good morning, all. Now, Susanna, I lost my practice manager for a whole day because her and Susanna became best friends at ZeroCon. They swapped numbers, everything. But you know, that So I took Mandy to ZeroCon. I'll come back to the rest of this in a moment. And she was very nervous about going with just me. But she's walked away having made a really good friend and contact out of Susanna. And I just think that's what any accounting event is about expanding your network and having a contact to keep in touch with. So yeah, that was absolutely that actual thing was the highlight of my trip. So Susanna Whelan says, good morning, Suzanne. More to bookkeeping. Good morning, everyone. Says, good morning, more to bookkeeping. Paul Whitehouse says, wishing her all the best. She's an asset for any business. Referring to Lizzie, she certainly is. Sue Green says, good morning, guys, from sunny Tamworth. Lovely. Steph Marshall says, morning, gents. Good morning, Steph. Lisa says, oops, running a little late. Morning, all. Morning to Lisa. Suzanne says, besties, absolutely. They're both from South Africa, so they're loving life.
Okay.
So Natasha says, yes, invited by Sage for the day on Thursday with Phil Hobden. Amazing day. Friday, Bath to see our son in the army. Then Saturday, World Superbikes at Donington Park. Wow,
wasn't it?
What a weekend.
Yeah.
What a weekend. Right, okay. Shall we, let's go first through the, we've already done the Lizzie bit. We need to, it's not a correction, but it's an update from last week's episode. So last week, I joyfully pointed out QuickBooks's mess up with the fact that even if you'd had your client authorize your MTD IT return through a practice management platform, e-signing platform, QuickBooks was still insisting you had to send it for permission using their email system. And that had caused a bit of upset in some of the accounting and bookkeepers' different forums and groups. Well, I'm pleased to say they've U-turned, like any good government party have. So they've now made that an optional thing. Now, to be fair to QuickBooks, I believe it was meant to be optional and the developer messed it up. Because Kirsty said she'd seen it ages ago and fed back on it and it was meant to be optional. So she said that on last week's show. Aaron, your understanding was it was always meant to be optional?
Yeah, because I mean, the bad thing is this was one of the things that I asked for years ago, but this was more to do with the VAT side, right? And I think that's where the frustration comes. If they'd have just built this into the VAT workflow first as an optional option, I think we'd have all been like, great idea, let's change this, let's do this, we could all give feedback. It's the fact they tried to shoehorn it into a brand new service that we're all trying to, go around trying to fix and everything else, and trying to figure out the workflows and in fact throwing in this new one that wasn't in the beta days but now is in here. That's where they dropped the ball on it, and that's where, rightly so, people are frustrated because it's like there's too much. We're under too much pressure. Right, the idea, great, we like the idea. The execution leaves to be desired, right? And I think that's where the underlying issue was. But yeah, it's great. It's been U-turned, but I believe it was always supposed to be an optional extra.
Cool. Whereas now, it is.
It's an optional extra, but it's a weird. Like there's a little tick box and. Yeah. Hey, look, we can moan about it but we've got more important things to talk about. If this was a lighter news week, this would be the full topic.
Okay. Well, let's move on to that big topic. So last week was ZeroCon, my first ever ZeroCon. I went as Kirsty calls it, a muggle. I wasn't there podcasting. I wasn't there as part of the press. I wasn't speaking. I wasn't exhibiting anything. It was the first time since 2021 that I have been a delegate. And I absolutely loved my time there. I had this whole delegate stuff, this is fantastic. I don't think it matters what show you go to. If you go as a delegate, life's really easy. So yeah, I had a fantastic time. But yeah, so, I mean, where do we start? Where do you want to start with it, Aaron? I mean,
Well,
you interview me. Go for it.
will you tell me what the vibe of the place was like? Because it was a new location to resort, right?
Yeah.
To start there.
So Olympia, everything was spread out, but it felt like it wasn't too spread out and too thinly spread that they just had too big a space for what they needed. 1,700 people was the number I got given on day 2, with 400 zero staff on top of that. It didn't feel crowded or anything. It was 35 degrees outside, and the inside, it was warm, but it wasn't that warm. Like, it wasn't unbearably warm. You were quite comfortable in t-shirt or shirt and jeans or something. No problems at all there. So with that amount of people in there, and you still felt quite comfortable, that was a good thing in 35 degrees heat. So yeah, I think it was all well spread out. Lots of food options, lots of coffee stations, which, I don't care. It doesn't matter what event you go to. When those doors open at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock in the morning, the first place that gets a queue is the coffee station.
Yeah.
And it was exactly the same at ZeroCon. Like, I walked in, it's like, I'm at an accounting event, there's a queue for the coffee station already. So yeah, it was really well laid out, really good atmosphere. Yeah,
It's only recently been redeveloped, right? There was the Olympia whole area has just been redeveloped, purpose-built for this event.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous venue. Like, the restaurants and bars are on top of the roof.
Oh, interesting.
So ZeroCon pre-drinks were hosted up there, which I got an invite to as well. And yeah, really nice venue up there. Very cool, the breeze going over. Oh yeah, it's a really nice venue. Really, really well designed. Right next to the district line as well. So very convenient from that point of view. So yeah, no, it was a good venue, and it's one I think Zero should continue using.
Yeah, and it's kudos to them for being somewhere unique, right? Because the last time they were at Excel, so it was a bit like Accountex 2.0 sort of vibes, wasn't it? From what we were told, which is the danger of that Daz has got, but that's one for another story, isn't it? But I like these quirky venues. I like to see them in different places, right? We don't always need to go down to Excel and come to the Fox afterwards, right? Like there's other alternatives, and kudos for that.
Yeah, and so it was plenty of restaurants and bars around, plenty of hotel accommodation around, so you weren't paying silly prices or anything for hotels. So yeah, no, it was an interesting location that I think they should continue using. I think others should be thinking a bit more outside of the box and keep going to the Excel.
Yeah.
Like Accountex Excel, because it's so bloody big. You couldn't use anything but the Excel in London for Accountex.
And they take over that whole venue, right? Like that it becomes the Accountex venue, doesn't it? Whereas other ones, you have to be a certain size for it to really work, don't you? And I think that's where it's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, no, I think Daz could work in Olympia.
Yeah,
as a venue size, I think that would work really well.
I thought that would be the next logical step for them. When I first heard about them redeveloping this brand new space and everything else, like that's because they like their quirky locations, don't they? I mean, that's what they've been known for. So
yeah, but yeah, no, it's a fantastic venue. Definitely
nice.
A good choice by Zero to have gone for that.
Love that. My next question has to be, where was the grid walk? Because certain individual did their own grid walk and bashed me during their actual grid walk itself. So where was yours? Because I mean, the full disclosure, I went all the way to Las Vegas and was able to set up a grid walk. So what was your excuse? Go for it.
So I had the camera equipment in my bag. When I went through security, though, the gentleman at security, very polite, very pleasant, said, look, the rules are unless you've got a press badge, you can't use proper cameras.
Yeah.
And they will be doing spot checks throughout the day. And it's like, you know what? I'm not here to upset anybody. I don't want to get thrown out or anything. I want to enjoy this event. So I complied. So you'll notice the grid walk that was done on a mobile phone by the other person. But yeah, so I just went, you know what, fine, it's one less things for me to have to try and remember to do. But yeah, no, it would have been a good grid walk. Like, it was a fantastic space. But I hadn't planned ahead and got a press badge. And part of me is annoyed that I didn't do that, because I'm also like, when I go to any events I go to now, I actually I think through, will I be allowed like my professional camera? So like my SLR camera, which I like taking nice photos with, most venues won't let me in with that. So like, I didn't go to Garbage at Edinburgh Castle on the weekend with that camera, because it's seen as a professional camera and you're not allowed to enter the venue with it without a press badge. So the behaviour that we saw there was absolutely in line with everything else that we see in London venues and stuff these days. And it just requires you to think ahead, basically, because press badges were available. Ryan, John and Indy from Digital Disruptors, or Loop as they're now called, all had press badges. So they were going around with their microphones, interviewing people and stuff. It's like, fair play. Like, they had no problems at all. So yeah, it was more of a lack of forethought on my behalf. Because to be fair, whenever we go to events, we're always invited in.
Yes, yeah.
As kind of like exhibitors / press, so we can do it. So it's really just my lack of foresight that let us down there.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, but it did look good. It looked like it. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but it felt like it was some sort of like village they'd recreated. It looked like the stands almost had facades that made it look like there were little buildings and stuff. And you kind of, because there was a hairdressers and all sorts, right?
Yeah, there was a hairdressers, there was a laundrette.
You made full advantage of it.
Yeah, I was there all afternoon for this look. I said to Ryan Percy at one point, "So shall we go to the hairdressers this afternoon together?" Because he and I have a somewhat equal hairline. So yeah, so there's a hairdressers, there's a laundrette where you could go and basically feedback anything that you wanted to feedback about the product, and in return you got some socks.
I thought you were going to say we could launder some money.
Well, there was a cooking lesson type place where they were teaching you how to take all the different ingredients of zero to improve the outcome of your practice.
How to cook the books.
Yeah.
They didn't really think these through, these names.
No. In hindsight.
Great idea, poorly executed.
Yeah. Then they had a pit stop station where they had pit stops for every type of, so zero payroll, zero analytics, zero jacks, all of these different things where you could pit stop for a quick how-to type thing. They had a huge slide, which I refused to go on. I watched the Xenon guys go down. I went, social media nightmare waiting to happen. Like, 0 announced health scores, Xenon goes crashing down slide. Like, there was too many opportunities for puns and stuff there. So I'm not getting myself roped into this. So yeah, and then upstairs they had lots of quiet space upstairs where you could sit down and get some work done, which was nice, along with a couple of coffee stations, a merch store right at the back corner where you could go and pick up your merch. So yeah, it was very well thought out and very, very well run and organised, as you'd expect from an event that size.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they have a whole team, don't they, dedicated to events, so that's what they do well. Because I did it, I've done a video and it's out today. My reactions from it, I've got that grid walk that you've mentioned, and I've got the announcements and the press release and stuff. But one thing I would say was slightly disappointing from as I looking in is it's a shame that the vendors weren't kind of prepped to do the same. Like, they could have had their own facades, right? And they could have had their own buildings and everything else. And a bit of forethought would have been lovely to see that. So that's my only criticism, if you like. But
yeah,
that, I think
the exhibitor stands were very much more in line with what you'd expect from Fab, DAS, and Accountex type things.
which I guess would be quite an ask for them to build on. But it would just be nice if you could imagine you had like a whole row of different, that aesthetic of trying to do those building facades and everything else. But what was the swag like? So you mentioned there was a swag store. So what did you get?
So I covered it in my video, in my vlogs on my channel on YouTube. But really nice beach bag. So really nice Zero beach bag, a little foldable laptop stand thing, pen, notebook, colouring, Zero composter type thing. Like there was some thought put to, we know some of this goes to your kids. Here's some things that your kids can be interactive with. So like the notebook was white with a black stencil on, and they could colour in the cover. There was a or kind of colouring in poster type thing. So I quite like the fact that they'd gone, well, what happens to the swag when it gets home? It tends to get given to the kids. So we'll do that. A couple of other bits and pieces. I then did a payroll research session, which meant I got a separate swag bag, which had a Zero water bottle, a cap, a different type of pad, a blue-white kind of beach blanket type thing, and some other bits. So yeah, it was all stuff that I walked away and went, actually, that's all stuff I'd probably use at some point, or my wife would use, or something. Like, it wasn't stuff that would have gone straight into the bin when I got home, which is always basically how I judge swag these days. Is if it's electronic stuff, is it good enough to replace my current stuff? No, well, it's going to sit there or go in the bin, isn't it? Whereas if it's stuff that's going to be used day in, day out, then I'm less worried about waste created by these things.
The laptop stand sounds like a good idea, right? That's a clever little...
that'll be in my work bag going forwards, because it folds into a tiny little thing and it's really lightweight. So
nice. So obviously, I mean, this is what we normally, this is what attracted us to events before. Talk us about the announcements, because there was like a keynote type event, wasn't there?
Yeah, so there was basically day one morning was all keynote. It was very Apple-esque. I have to give it to Zero. Even now I'm, detoxed by 3 days of the Zero Kool-Aid. I still think the delivery of their keynote was the most Apple-like delivery I've seen from any software vendor.
Yeah.
Really, really impressed, really well executed. They didn't quite say one more thing, but you could see they were implying it. Yeah. It was a really good keynote, to be fair. It gave you enough information for you to go, okay, I'm interested in a deeper conversation about this, at which point you went through to the stands to go and have a deep conversation about these things. At the stands, anyone could sign up to the beta using a QR code. So as soon as the beta goes out, those people will be rolled onto it, which I liked. I liked the fact that it didn't matter how big your firm was or wasn't. If you were at ZeroCon and you wanted to be part of a beta, you had freedom to register for that beta and to be part of it. Because a lot of these softwares, like the betas, are kind of handpicked as to who they go to. So I did like the fact that there was a bigger involvement for everybody and anyone could opt in. It was a very, very good ZeroCon announcements. Things from I'm going to miss things here because there was just so many things, and it wasn't all the big stuff that was announced. It was the little things as well that really helped. I used my Plord device to record it. Also, I've got notes and notes, and I've got lots and lots of notes. But basically, the main things were the upgrades coming to Document Manager. So Document Manager is already very good. Bank Statements is coming. So I can see why certain softwares might be a bit upset with Zero, because that's coming in as part of the Zero license. Then the fetch feature that they are building, or the requests feature that they're building, and that goes out, I think it's next month that goes into beta. That looks very effective, powerful, but simple. So you can see you can from the practice hub, which is getting a bit of a facelift, you'll be able to go into a client, see a client and go, right, there's missing documents, show me all the documents that are missing. Filter for anything over £50, because anything under £50 I'm not worried about, or whatever money status you want. Select them all, press chase, and you can tell Jax to either email them, which will also send an in-product message as well. Send an in-product message only, or send an SMS. So your best option is to email, because then it goes in-product and email. And it says, look, I need all these documents. And then as they upload to Jax in their in-product chat, or as they respond to the email with attachments, Jax checks which ones have been sent, marks them off the list, and then keeps reminding them about the rest of the list. From a day-to-day job point of view, I think that's going to be a really powerful feature for something that's built into the Xero license. For value for money, I think that's fantastic, and that's where you lose a lot of time with your clients and bookkeeping work. So you've got Document Manager, Xero Force. It looked like Xero's answer to Zapier. So a really cool use case that I've already come up with there would be, basically I could tell Xero Force every month on the 5th of the month or whatever, go into each client, look at their net profit, do this equation, and then send them an email with this using this template, put in the answer to the equation here. So I could go in and go, right, on the 5th of every month, I want you to work out the corporation tax based on the net profit as of today for year to date, to tell the client to keep them informed. It's a proactive thing that we do manually at the moment. So yeah, Xero Force looks very interesting. It comes with a load of suggested workflows, which is good, because it's like Zapier, it's like Claude, it's like ChatGPT. We all know they're incredibly powerful, but they're only as incredibly powerful as our imagination makes them. So if we can't come up with use cases, then they're useless. If we can come up with more and more use cases, then they get more and more powerful. So you get a lot more value out of Claude and stuff than I do, because you've got a better mind for work, coming up with outcomes and stuff. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, that Xero Force one. That could be quite powerful. Definitely. Some of the stats they announced were quite interesting. So 20,000 end users are connected Xero to Claude so far, which is good. It wasn't said on stage, but off stage it has been confirmed that there is a practice version of the API coming for Claude. So you'd have to keep connecting and disconnecting stuff, which is good. No ETAs on that, which is probably why it wasn't announced on stage. The accounts production tool is getting an upgrade. So it's going to be a lot better remembering what accounting notes you used last time. And there's a broader range of accounting notes as templates built in. So you can just go, I need this one, I need that one. And then you can go and edit them as well to suit yourself. CT600 is going to be relaunched later this year with all the forms. So you can do a basic CT600 on there now, but like the R&D, performing arts, and all those kind of forms is going to be available from later this year as well. Which again, when you look at accounts, self-assessment, and CT600 and partnership returns built into your Xero license, it does add value to a Xero license.
It does.
If you use it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Is there anything I've not mentioned that is on your list?
I think that. So let's take the Kool-Aid away a little bit, right? And let's just be critical of some of these, because we all know this, right? Like, it's PR. Because the one number I keep seeing, and I've seen loads of LinkedIn posts, is 600. And what is it? 600
600
updates
UK focused releases in 2 years.
in 2 years, yeah, which great, sounds like a great number. But when you look into that, it's kind of like, well, yeah, but what are those 600? Because that could be
I knew you were going to have an issue with this because you don't think they've got any development team or R&D spend at all.
They do, but because they're refining the product, right? And that's it. I'm happy that they're in that refinement mode, because everything you've mentioned there, none of that is new stuff, right? That is all them bringing themselves back up to the competition, which is the right thing to do, right? We love this development race and we want them to do that. We just need Zero to go that little bit further and go, let's think about doing this. You know what I mean?
That's the interesting part. When I spoke to a lot of people at the pre-drinks, which was a lot of the Zero Council, accounting council, basically their version of that.
Yeah.
So many of them were, because I said, "Oh, what are you hoping for tomorrow? What are we hoping for in an announcement?" So many of them wanted quality of life improvements over big features.
100%.
So I think Zero gauged the feedback and they did well. I think it would have been nice to get big features, but actually their users are saying, let's refine what we've already got before we start getting distracted by more shiny things.
And that's the right thing to do. They're winning the arms race anyway, right? They've got the most subscribers. They put an amazing stat out in there of how many subscribers they've got and all that sort of stuff. So clearly they're not doing bad for themselves, and they dominate on the community and events and that sort of stuff. That's their secret sauce, isn't it? I joke about it, but it is drinking the Kool-Aid, and it's weird. I mean, look at you, right? You're glowing from coming back from that event, where this couple of years back you wouldn't have even dreamed to go there, right? So it's definitely doing the right thing. I just the cynic in me goes, 600 is a cool number, right? But that number isn't. It pales in comparison to what could have been if.
Would you like an itemized list? Would that help? Would you like an itemized list? Would that help?
but even like 600, right? Engager must have done 200, maybe even more, right? Like QuickBooks have done 1,000 just based on one Kanban board that I looked at, not canopy board, feature list. Like that number's great, but it's a marketing spin, right? And that's what it is. What I would love to have seen is just because everything you mentioned, it's so cool, but it is them catching up, right? It's what other solutions have, and sometimes they're Sherlocking, which is a term we're very used to in this industry. But other times they're just trying to bring back, like a lot of what you're saying there is already in the Intuit platform, fine, but this is them catching up and coming on par, right? So why would you jump to another platform? And that's exactly what this is supposed to be. I just Zero were always that let's do something a bit different. Let's do something a little bit new and everything else. And you're talking about refinement, but they still haven't refined the features that people are shouting for, like a proper audit trail. Like that's been 12 years or something daft I was speaking to someone about. I'll talk about bank reconciliation, right? They've still not gone down those routes, right? Like if they're going to do that refinement, let's really focus on the reasons that people like me don't use.
I think the audit trail might be coming. And
hopefully,
the amount of attention they drew to like anything they were doing with Jax. So like they've got any product where there's Jax involved, they were showing this is the audit trail that shows you everything it's done and why it's happened and whether it's human, AI, etc. So they're definitely working towards that, I think, based on they want to be transparent as to what their AI tool is doing for you to understand it.
Yeah, makes sense. And look, from a feature announcement point of view, I think they smashed it. I mean, there was a really strong showing, and obviously everyone in the crowd were happy about it. And like you said, sometimes a quality of life improvement can be far more impactful than any other. I'll go back to Engager Labs, whatever. All my team talked about on the way home was that 64.8 process. Do you know what I mean? Like that's a quality of life. That's not a major brand new proposal solution or anything that you brought out. This is a nice little refinement that would save hours upon hours upon hours of hours. They're the big things that people really love, isn't it? But also you kind of need to sprinkle that in with something brand new. Yeah. And that's when we go to the brand new one, which I am so happy this guy. This was music to my ears. Zero Ultra. Take it away, because
but this is the problem. The event There was one slide mentioning it, and that was it. And basically, all it kind of said was it's built for bigger clients that need more powerful insights. Basically, it looks like they've taken SIF analytics and embedded more of it into a Xero license. But that's the limit of what I know. So some of that's not Xero's fault. Some of that is because we were all invited to go and speak to the vendors at the desks outside to get more detail. I didn't go and talk about Xero Ultra because it didn't sound like it was relevant to my client base at the time. So I was very much focused on getting value out of the 2 days and understanding the stuff that's going to potentially impact my client base on a day-to-day basis today. So I still need to go and do more research into what is Xero Ultra, what's included, what's the price point, etc. So I can't really discuss it and defend it or attack it when I've really not spent any time looking at it.
Okay, but it's safe to say it's going up against QuickBooks Advanced, which I am the biggest critique of QuickBooks Advanced, right? This has been, I feel like I've been on a mission to love it or hate it. I'm the biggest, I talk about QuickBooks Advanced more than anything else, right? Like that is my biggest pain point in the QuickBooks ecosystem at this point in time. But I do think Ultra's come along and basically gone, Aaron, you should be grateful, because from what I can tell, and we'll need to get people to tell us what other features it is. It's like you said, it's that SIFT analytics wraparound that goes on it. And there's a few other features, like there's a backup feature that's cool. Again, QuickBooks Advanced got that. That's awesome. And for the bigger clients, actually, that's way bigger deal than you think, because for them, it's that peace of mind, isn't it? It's not the worried that data is going to go missing. It's worried that what if Jill accidentally puts the wrong transactions in and for the wrong date 500 times in a day or whatever, and at least they've got, because there's multiple people working on it, it's that chance to go back to something they know was right. Like I boohooed it at first, but the more I've been kind of working with those type of clients, and you said that it's not for your client, but I promise you this is your client base going forward. Like QuickBooks Advanced has been, much as I criticize, has been amazing for us in terms of attracting a different type of client that are far more interested in system advisory, far more interested in getting into a week. Like they're perfect type of clients you want to work with, right? Because they've got to that stage. So the idea of Xero Ultra, loving the idea, because they're starting to go to that higher client base. And their idea that this is in between, like it's going to go for that in between ERP to, I still don't get that one. Like the gap's far too long. I think that's a marketing spiel. In reality, it is just you've grown to like it's Ultimate, isn't it? Is the one before, like it's something like that, isn't it? I forget their name.
Or something. Yeah.
So you've got to their top tier. Here's an extra one on top, just to give you a bit of runway. And maybe that's all you'll ever go, but most people will then have to go to an ERP if they are like properly scaling, right?
Yeah.
Fully get that. Like the premise that they're going to have this higher one, I'm really, really on board with. But the lack of features to justify it really worries me, because
I'm going to take you back to QuickBooks Advanced 3 years ago when it first came out.
That was 3 years ago. Yeah.
It's poor.
Yeah.
But Xero now 3 years behind on QuickBooks on that. So actually,
so leave it in the oven and bring it out. That's going to wow you, right? Like there's no need to rush.
Especially when you gave it literally one slide and one sentence mention at the event.
Yeah,
I'm not really sure why they announced it when they did. Because if I'm honest,
my main point is that they're talking about multi-entity. Because remember when you got even excited back at Advanced, they're fixing the multi-entity, and it was spreadsheet integration, right? And rightly so, you criticize them for that, right? But it's not, for me, it's not the Ultra, or the pain point isn't as much reporting on multi-entity. I feel like we've got lots of solutions for that, and a good spreadsheet can do that for you. The pain point is actually posting multi-entity transactions. Like that's been the pain point all along.
Yeah.
QuickBooks Advanced and now into an Enterprise Suite are solving those solutions. Like we're getting a nice little wraparound. It's taken a long time, but we're getting there. Ultra needed to come out and gone, even if it was coming soon or whatever they needed to monitor. Like they need to sell this product. They need to be going, right, here's that pain point, which is multi-entity. Here's why Zero Ultra is going to be amazing for it. And from a reporting side, I think it's going to blow out, probably be the best in the market at that price point. But I think from they're only solving 25% of that problem, right? The big problem is how do you post those multi-entity transactions in the first place, which people like Mayday and stuff, like, they're amazing, but that's a third party, and this is trying to kind of incorporate all in one. So, and there was nothing else really to go.
But at least they didn't try saying they do it with a spreadsheet.
Yeah, but that does work. Like as much as you can boohoo it, like I'm using that exact functionality for clients now, and they're loving it. They're a nice little dashboard now with Claude and all that. We can connect things, all sorts of stuff, right? Like it's great, it works. But just solving that bit to me isn't an Ultra. Isn't like we need more than that. And the one thing it's done is maybe go, actually, QuickBooks Advanced is pretty good value for money now, and pretty good, and it sits beautifully in the thingy, because if they do just release Ultra for what it is now, that doesn't make sense. Because you said you haven't looked at the price point.
No.
You know the type of clients you're with now, and you know what type of clients you're starting to bring in. What sort of price point would you expect that to be? And don't worry, like just around some figure.
I'd expect it probably between £90 and £100 a month.
Yeah. So comparison to that, QuickBooks Advanced is £123. Now we only have Australian prices, and they haven't said it's per entity yet, but I've spoken to some Australian partners and they say it's per entity. It's $500 Australian dollars, which sounds a lot.
£250.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and also if you do how much their ultimate is, or whatever their high one is to Ultra, it's 3.5 times. So you 3.5 times your 60 odd quid or whatever we're paying for ultimate now, then it is around about $250. £250, should I say? 250 quid per entity compared to £123. Like you're doubling the price when Advanced has far more features at this point in time.
Yeah,
that,
but
to me,
also
doesn't work.
Let's look at the QuickBooks way of pricing Advanced.
Yeah,
because Advanced in the US is a lot more, even when you do the currency conversion, than it would be in the UK. So,
but if you do that time, that's why I always do the times by
strategy.
Right, but always do the time that, like, what we're paying now, and we know if it's 3.5 times more, whatever it is, like that's a really good benchmark to where the pricing should sit. So if we do it like that, QuickBooks Advanced, their scaling is in line with the US. So if we look at what our plus is versus US plus, you know what I mean? Like all of that.
Right, I can see what you mean.
It all sits in the same sort of thing. I'm the biggest critique of QuickBooks Advanced in the UK, especially. I still don't think it hits the right value, but I've quadrupled the amount of QuickBooks Advanced license in the past year compared to what I had before, and I think
so 1 to 4.
No, generally we got like 20 clients on it now, right? So not a massive number, but far more than was at the first update, right? But that's because actually from a feature point of view, there is quite a lot there. It's taken time to build it. My big critique of this is Xero knew, or Xero surely knows that for this to land, they're going to get one chance to. They've seen how much of a mess Intuit made of this. Put it in the oven, cook it. Like if this came out in 2 years' time, no one would batter an eyelid, right?
No.
They need this to come out, and they need this to be better than QuickBooks Advanced, especially when it's double the price. Like that. As I say, that's what
I don't understand the timing of that release, because they had plenty to talk about on stage. There's even things like so they've just announced an integration with Microsoft Copilot and Microsoft Office Suite and stuff. And again, like I don't get that kind of stuff. I don't see the point. Like, but that was again a one slider. And they said, "Oh, we're really," and even Claude, like they say, "Not we've got 20,000 people licenses connected to Claude at the moment," but it's in such an early stage. It's like, but there was no in depth about what's coming next. Just a head tilt towards something else. You know, we're working on it. I just don't think they needed to announce Ultra this week.
No.
Like, I just don't think they needed to announce it. They weren't short of discussion points. That
Yeah.
is for sure.
And especially when their biggest advocates are saying, "Oh, you don't need advance or anything like you can scale a business to X amount." I forget what numbers is, but you know, I'm the same person who did his grid walk and mentioned me, right? He mentioned how he's got plenty, and I believe it, right? He's got plenty of businesses on multi-million, like big businesses.
Yeah.
And all he's using is Zero as like that base, and he's attaching some quality apps around it, right? And that model, all its flaws, we can go back and forth what's right or wrong, but like it's clearly working in that context, right? And that's where Zero's always been. It's like, well, you don't need to think about ERP because, you know, up until, because we've got this amazing ecosystem that does it, and we can't talk about it, unfortunately, because of, you know, issues and everything else that goes with it and everything else. But, you know, there was certain partners who were not happy with some of the announcements, right? Like, so they're kind of in a bit, they're kind of burning bridges one end and now burning bridges the other, just to release a product that doesn't sit right.
And no one was talking about Ultra at the event.
Oh, really?
No, really didn't get any. What people were talking about was Zero Force, the visibility of how AI is working, like the audit of AI, and the document manager stuff. They were the main conversation points people were having with me.
And that document manager stuff, brilliant. Like, that is absolutely brilliant. Yeah. Like was it HubDoc who?
Yeah, exactly. Right, we've only got 5 minutes left, so let's just quickly go through the comments. Alexis says, "Morning all, looking forward to Johann's feedback on ZeroCon. Hopefully," one final comment on ZeroCon is ultimately, as I said to you offline, an event in my mind is judged by, for value, is judged by how much I come away with to do. How many action points have I got? How many conversations do I need to have with my team about how we take things forwards? And I literally walked away with pages of notes and pages of ideas from decompressing and writing things down in my notebook in the evenings. So I thought it was a very, very good event, and the value it's added to my firm, providing I take action and I implement and I discuss all these things, is going to be phenomenal.
Yeah.
If I went there, watched it all, and then did nothing from leaving, then of course it's not value for money.
Yeah.
Of course it's not.
And I would say as well, like Accountex and all them, like there's space for a free event. I have no issue with them charging for this event. Right? I think that's like if they can do the quality you were saying, and the bout of insights you've come away with it, and it becomes more exclusive then, right? Like if it was a free event, you'd have people like me turning up and bashing Ultra when, like you said, it wasn't even part of the conversation. Do you know what I mean? Like keep it exclusive, keep it to your community. Like let them have a place to celebrate.
Yeah, definitely. Suzanne says, "Hooray about the QuickBooks U-turn." Tahir says, "Good morning, good morning." Greg says, "Morning all, morning Greg." Catherine says, "How was Garbage? Did you recognise the songs?" No, I'm an absolute Neanderthal. Like I'm a caveman when it comes to music. I've got no interest in it. It doesn't do anything for me. But my wife had a great time, and that's what's important.
I didn't even know who Sophie Baxter was when it was playing in the background, and he was just Sophie.
Dave says, "Hi both. Anyone know the firms that are saving 4 hours a week per client from auto bank rec, which may or may not code things correctly?" Yeah, with all like Zero, like all software companies, and QuickBooks has been just as bad for this kind of exaggeration of looking at certain data points in certain ways with a certain lens to be able to go, "Oh, this is going to save you 4 hours per client per week." How? So yeah, that's going to need a certain amount of. It's like Dex auto-publish, right? It saves you time. What their statistics say and what everyone I speak to says are different things. So yeah, there's some statistics out there about time savings and stuff, and there's a few of us all sat there and going, not so sure. I can see it will save us some time. I'm not convinced it's that much time.
It's also not a bank rep, but we can talk about that another day. And
different matter. Yeah. Caught up with Dave Lowe when I was at ZeroCon, had a really good chat with him.
Good.
Always good to see him in person.
Nice.
Paul Whitehouse says, if Xero are targeting the US, they need Microsoft integrations because so many US businesses rely on the Microsoft ecosystem. Yeah, and I think that is literally the play. Because what we also have to remember with ZeroCon is that wherever it is, that is their global ZeroCon. Yes. Like there's people from Australia, South Africa, and the US that were visitors to this ZeroCon. Like, so this ZeroCon is playing a global audience focused on the UK. Whereas like Intuit Connect, when that happens in the UK, it is targeting the UK audience. So yeah, whilst there was a lot of, we've done this in the UK, we've done that in the UK, some of their keynote was very much about, this is happening globally. This is what's coming globally. So that would, that would be where the Microsoft stuff came out, I have no doubt. Now, we have got loads and loads of other stuff to go through, but we're going to defer it all to next week because we're running out of time. I really enjoyed chatting to all the exhibitors.
What's your final thing on Xero, though? ZeroCon.
In regards to value and stuff, or?
Yeah, will you be going again, or is this once
absolutely.
And done?
No, I'll definitely go again. It's a really good event, and it's reminded me of the importance of going as a delegate, because I never walk away from events when I'm an exhibitor and stuff with pages and pages of notes of conversations or changes to processes and stuff that I want to put in to my firm. So taking 2 days out and just focusing on my firm and coming out with so many notes and so many ideas was huge. And to take Mandy, my practice manager for Roots Growth, as a thank you for all of her hard work over the last few months since we took over in March. And she got a lot out of it. She really enjoyed it. She really valued and appreciated being taken. And she walked away with a new friend and stuff. Like, there's a lot of intangible value you can't put on that. Good. So yeah, but yeah, no, I'd definitely do it again.
And you wouldn't recommend someone like me, right? Like it's not my.
There's no point.
Yeah.
Like, they'd stop you at the door, and rightly so, regardless of what list your name's on. Yeah. But yeah, I think if you've got a genuine interest to see what the benefits of Xero could be for your firm, great. They had some great speakers. They did have some great speaking sessions. Like Louis Theroux, he was fantastic and very funny. Prue Leaf was there. You had some other ones on day one that I missed because I was too busy talking to. But Jill, like loads and loads of really good speakers and sessions. So there's a lot to walk away with. Even if it's not to use a Xero document manager or something, the fact that you're asking yourself questions as to, is the process and system I've got now the right one? Then, or I need to go back and ask my software provider if they can do that, then there's value to be had, isn't there?
Yeah. No, I can see it. And I think this is what any event in the industry, isn't it? As long as, like you said, it's gonna live and die on what notes you come back, and the fact you've come back with so many notes, I think, says it all, doesn't it? I mean,
including one about
a little bit sick you sat there drinking from your. A little bit sick you sat there drinking from your Xero bottle, but hey.
I mean, one of my notes is to transfer 32 licenses from QuickBooks to Xero, but hey, different matter for different conversation.
Well, what can I say? It sounds like user error to me.
We're down to 35 licenses after that.
Yeah,
which is a sad state of affairs.
It is. Cheryl mentions here, I've used a bank rec auto publish on a couple of savings accounts. It does a fair few minutes, but I wouldn't use it on a main current account. Yeah, good point.
Exactly. And
we just before I forget though, remind me to talk about in a future episode QuickBooks version of this because it's very juicy.
Okay, but yeah, like Cheryl's use case of that is exactly where it should be. like getting it to also process transactions on a savings account where it's really simple.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Getting it to, like, you need more control of it in a main account. So I said to them, like, actually what you need is the ability to turn it on and off at not just a bank account level, which is great, but you need to be able to turn it on and off as to, on this bank account, only deal with expenditure.
Yeah.
Don't deal with the money coming in, because I need to deal with that manually, because it's a combination of invoices, whatever. So I have fed back to them that they need to give more control over it on bank accounts. But Cheryl's use case there on a savings account, fantastic, but it's not 4 hours a week per client. Fantastic.
But we're all guilty of that, right? Like, we're all guilty of.
We all like to exaggerate our numbers slightly.
And it's, again, it's use case, isn't it? There might be a client, like I'd imagine someone like Paul who has the same type of client across all of them. Maybe for him it could be, right? Like, for him it could save that sort of time, but for others it could be a case because we've got different variants of clients and all that sort of stuff and complexities and everything else goes with it.
Yeah.
Cool. I think that's it, isn't it?
Right. Well, as always, thank you to everyone for joining us. We hope you found some value in today's session. Aaron, what are you up to this week?
I am in Leeds for the next 2 days, then down to London to talk Sage. Very posh event on embedded services. I'm very, very, very excited about that. And then, just more work. What about yourself?
I'm just going to sit here giggling at you defending QuickBooks while also building relationships with Sage, because it's just a slightly different colour of green. But yeah, never mind. I'm working from my dad's for the next 10 days, so I'm hoping to be kind of part-time and just do some meetings and stuff that I need to do, and then leave it at that, basically.
Good. Have some R&R. That's what you want.
Yeah. Well, I'm no more travels for the next 2 months.
No more at all.
I'm on a break for 2 months of traveling. I counted it up. I was away for 41 nights in the last 6 months.
Yeah, mental, isn't it? Yeah.
And that's not including the late night arrive, getting back home, the there and back again in a day events and stuff. That is just, I had a hotel booking that night.
Yeah.
So I'm very much looking forward to a break until the 9th of September.
Which is Countex? Is that what you've...
No, it's just a random event I'm at.
All right, cool. But it is around about September for Countex, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. Yeah. Brilliant. Well, thank you everybody for joining us this week, and we will be back next week with our somewhat lesser quality show, thanks to Lizzie moving on and doing well for herself.
Who?
Yeah, dead to us. But she's my new favourite person now.
Yeah.
I've got a proper Jekyll and Hyde about this right now. What a horrible woman, leaving us and abandoning us. Welcome, Lizzie. Hi, Lizzie. How are you? Yeah.
She will be missed.
She will be missed, definitely, from Ask the Accountant. Brilliant. Thank you very much, guys, and we'll see you all next week. Goodbye.